Hi, thanks for joining me today. This is Sandy Eagon with Keller Williams Realty and Sandy and Company. Today we're talking about timelines in real estate and why it's so important to have your real estate expert with you along the way. If you are looking to buy a house today, please click the box that says to search all area homes. And if you are thinking of selling, please click the box that asks for a market analysis in today's values. Now, back to timelines in real estate. So we all sit down, we sign a contract, we're ready to go, and in 30 days, the buyer should have the keys, right? Hopefully. There are a lot of things. This is a complex transaction, a lot of legal issues, a lot of physical issues. We have lender criteria. We have increased the guidelines on what it takes to get a loan exponentially. And especially in the last 6 months, we've been finding out what types of things that the underwriters are looking for in order to make sure that they're meeting those guidelines and those criteria to the government, to the whoever they have to talk to. That is really in the lender's court. But it's my job to make sure, as your real estate expert and your real estate consultant, to make sure that I understand enough of that process so that I can set you up for success and not for failure and frustration down the road. So what kinds of issues are we working through? We need to make sure that we have enough time in there so that once the file gets out of the underwriting process, that you can sign all the disclosures. People have time to get into the escrow company or be met with a mobile notary. Documents have to get back to be reviewed and checked, and making sure that everything is correct before they're recorded and the house changes hands and legal ownership. Lots of things to check. Secondly, there may be repairs that you agreed upon, and so we need to get back in there at the very end, or the buyer does if we're on the selling side, and make sure that those repairs were done to the buyer's satisfaction. And if not, we actually have to open that back up again and take care of it. When those things are re-inspected at the last minute, sometimes we get some heartache and we have delays. Then lastly, although not lastly on my list, there are lots of things that can go wrong, but we also get to deal with an appraiser. So we not only have the buyer's expectation, the seller's expectation, the inspector's expectation, but we also have an appraiser's expectation. And sometimes the appraiser is expecting things to be done a certain way as well. And the appraiser can't take our word for it that the repairs were done. So he has to, or she has to, come out to the property, re-inspect, take pictures, get them back to the underwriting. This is a lot of things that can happen in 30 to 45 days, and so much of that is pushed into the last week, week and a half to 2 weeks, that oftentimes we're juggling time frames, making extensions. And what would be the problem with that? We all know it's important, right? So why is there so much pressure set on that one date? Well, a lot of things are happening in the buyer's life right now and in the seller's life right now. Maybe the seller is buying another house, and so they have to make sure and be accountable to the next people for when they get their funds. And if they can't sell here, if they can't close this deal, they can't close on the next one. So that adds a lot of stress. Perhaps you've got moving vans scheduled, and some of these moving companies, they might be booked 2 and 3 weeks out. So making a change 3 days ahead of time to trying to change that to 2 days later can be very difficult and sometimes darn near impossible. Maybe you have family flying at a certain time. Maybe your lock is expiring. I have a client last week who paid actually it was a couple weeks ago, he paid to have a lock bought down, and then he paid again to have the lock extended. Well, he's buying a brand new house, and we just last week and early this week found out that we have some people, some of their contractors that went on vacation, and they're not going to guarantee our closing date. Not a great conversation. So my job as your real estate consultant is to talk with you about all the different timelines that are going on during this transaction, and make sure that you are prepared for plan B and maybe for plan C, because we want to make sure that while we may not have taken the exact path that we were hoping for, that you actually still have all your marbles intact, and that ultimately that you felt like you had a transaction that was fair and honest, and everybody did what they could to make sure that you were taken care of. So it's very important to have your realtor by your side all the way through. Talk with them about what is going on and what questions you have. We're here as your guide to make this transaction the best possible for you. We are here to serve you, meet your needs, and make this the best transaction possible. Thanks so much for joining me today. Have a super day. Let me know if you have any questions, real estate oriented. And of course, if you're looking to buy or to sell, please contact me. We'll get back to you right away. Have an awesome day.